what's going on? Tim Lowe with Signature Real Estate Group back at you. And we're bringing another great company to you. This time it's SolUp, which is one of the top companies here in Las Vegas. I would dare say the best one in Las Vegas. I mean, look at the reviews. But anyway, I have a lot of people that end up calling me regarding solar. And so I just wanted to get Bob in front of you. He's the sales manager for Las Vegas, and man, their experience over there is completely different than anybody else's here in town. So we're going to get into it, and I'm just going to introduce you to Bob Villazante here. And welcome, Bob. Nice to see you, brother.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
my pleasure
absolutely.
being out. Appreciate the introduction. Absolutely. So yeah, just as you mentioned, I'm the sales manager over at SolUp. SolUp is the longest running residential solar company here in Las Vegas. We opened back in 2009 and really kind of opened the market to solar back when people really didn't know what solar was. Kind of before the Solar City and some of the other sun runs and stuff kind of came to town. And yeah, happy to be here. Love to answer some questions for you, help educate your audience on if solar is a good fit for them, why now is a great time to go solar, how to really choose the best solar company for your needs, kind of do a quick comparison between some of the products that we offer versus some of the products that some of the competitors offer out there.
Yeah.
And in terms of ratings, we are rated the #1 solar company here in town, the only solar company with over 1,000 organic 5-star reviews.
That's crazy. So when I started this process for me, because we wanted to get it for our house, we waited a while. And when I went on to check out the reviews, man, I mean, you'll have some companies that have 5 to 7, you have 52 on a few here and there, but you guys have over 1,400 views, and you're still maintaining like a 5.0 or a 4.9 or 5.0. It's something like that.
Absolutely.
It's crazy. And there's a couple other companies that are, that have, say, 300 reviews, but they're like 3.6 as far as the stars go. And then you get into the details of it. It gets kind of scary.
There. And if you have a company with 300, reviews and they have 300 employees, well, there's might be some discrepancy. I'm just kidding.
Oh wow, that's a whole different story.
Yeah, right? I can only speak for ourselves. And
right.
What's nice about us is we get real-time reviews. We don't screen them. The reviews come in. Some go right to our website.
Yeah.
Others go right to Google or Yelp. So we don't have a screening procedure to take out the bad reviews. So if somebody's unhappy with the process, and listen, we're all human, and every once in a while, something may not be perfect. Maybe somebody shows up late. Maybe a product, is subpar. But if we discover that during that process, our turnaround time is typically 24 hours. So, one of the things is you try to do everything as perfect as you can, but if there's ever a hiccup in the road, a truck gets a flat tire, any unexpected thing, we're going to be there to get it fixed immediately for you. So that's another thing that really kind of separates us in terms of
Well, that's how you're maintaining
service.
those reviews, man. I mean,
Absolutely.
To maintain a 5.0 or 4.9 anywhere in that realm with that many customers, yeah, that's amazing. So I think you guys are doing a great job.
Appreciate that. And a little bit about that, we really contribute to the owner, who's Frank Rieger, just an amazing guy. His background is he's a German engineer and a person really, really passionate about renewable energy. So, if somebody does put a Yelp review up that's 4 stars, you better believe you're going to get a response from Frank right away.
Okay.
Saying, hey, what can we do to make this a 5-star experience?
Great.
What about this wasn't perfection for you? So he holds everybody to a really high standard. It definitely makes for a work environment that is a very precision run environment, but the end result is happy customers.
Well, I got to tell you, from my perspective, I've had to call as a real estate agent. Lots of times I'm in the middle of a transaction and we're helping people transfer from a seller to a buyer, right? And man, it gets nasty. I mean, if there's an issue with the timeline, we've got a 30-day escrow most of the time, right? And you wouldn't think it would be that hard to be able to transfer the from one lease, or if it's a lease agreement, right, to the next buyer. But boy, howdy, it gets locked up. And once you have to call somebody and get a manager involved with a lot of these companies, it can be pretty cumbersome. And we've had to bring in the Utilities Commission or the Attorney General just to try to answer back to those solar companies to go, hey, you need to respond to these people. And one thing that I noticed when I called the customer service for SolUp is it's local. Where in a lot of cases it wasn't. You're calling it's hitting some other country, and then they're trying to route you, or they're trying to just satisfy you right there.
Absolutely.
And then they'll get somebody back to you, which lots of times doesn't happen. So I was happy that was the case whenever I called you guys anyway.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. And when you get into these kind of warranty battles, a lot of the times, like with our warranty, for example, our warranty is really just a couple of pages. And that warranty is put together really for the consumer, not to protect the business. And when you look at some of the warranties that are out there from different companies, I won't mention any names, but they might be 30, 40, 50-page warranties. And there's all of these caveats and there's things that are in there. So when you really need help and you call the company, in a lot of cases, you're not really talking to somebody at the company. You might be talking to an insurance adjuster. You might be talking to their legal team, right? And they're looking to really not help you. With us, when you call in, we have an open door policy. We have the only showroom in town. The owner is in there 5 days a week.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty neat too. I mean, as far as what you guys put together on that, the showroom is a whole different experience right when you walk in.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, just since we're on that, we might as well get into it for a second. When you walk into SolUp to the showroom or your guys' office, you're greeted by not just the person that's up front, but then there's another party that comes up and say, hey, you guys need anything else? You need water, whatever. And then, so as I was taken through your place, I was introduced to probably 6 or 7 people and what each individual department, what they had to do.
Absolutely. And hopefully this is the evolution of solar as a whole, in that you're not just talking to somebody online or somebody who's got a PO box somewhere as you're going back and forth, but you're able to come into a brick and mortar. With us, we really call it the SolUp experience. So you come in the front door, you're greeted by Cynthia or one of our amazing receptionists who are very educated. From that point, they take you through, they introduce you to the administrators, then they take you into the showroom, they give you a first-hand tour of the products. We have our top-of-the-line panels mounted on the wall.
And you can see what they're doing, like the panels
that's
in the
exactly
showroom.
Right.
It's really cool.
Yep, they show you literally how the power is generated from the panel, then it goes through to the inverter, then it goes into the power source, then it goes into your meter, then it goes to the grid. So it's great to actually see how the energy is produced in that entire process. So we'll walk you through that process as well. Then from there, we take you back into our engineering, because we're the only solar company with an on-staff actual engineer. So all of the calculations we do are, we guarantee those kilowatt hours for 25 years, and you get to meet the engineer. Then we take you back and we introduce you to your project manager. So this is going to be your point of contact. That's going to, keep you in the loop as far as where your project is and the milestones, when your HOA has been approved and when your permitting comes back, and then they'll schedule the installation with you. So we really want it to be an experience that is educational, entertaining, and just really an overall enjoyable experience.
My eyes were open to a lot of different things when I went to the showroom. One of them was just the quality of the solar panels compared to what's out there. And I didn't realize there was a difference on the longevity of the panels. And so if you can tell them a little bit about the Meyer Burger, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we are a Pinnacle Meyer Burger provider. Meyer Burger is the oldest solar panel manufacturer in the industry. They started back, it's a German-based company. They started back in the early 50s, Swiss design and German engineering. I mean, really, that's the match that you want. And they started out as precision watchmakers back in the early 50s. They made the sprockets and components inside of watches. Nice. From there, they elevated into renewables, and they have dozens of patents on the amazing technology. So they came up with things like the diamond saw to be able to cut the wafers razor thin to eliminate microfractures and things like that. So eventually their claim to fame was they manufacture the machines that actually produce the solar panels. So 6 of the top solar panel manufacturers out there actually build their equipment on Meyer Burger machines. So at a certain point, Meyer Burger looked at their business model and said, hey, rather than leasing our equipment out, let's use our equipment to make the best panels on the planet. So they started producing the Meyer Burger panel. and they have the Meyerburger Black and the Meyerburger White. I won't get into too much technical aspect on the slight variations between those two, but the backing behind it is a technology called heterojunction. So there's really two types of panels out there. One is called PERC, which is passive emitter rear contact, a little bit older technology. They're the panels that you see that have the silver lines that run down the front of them called bus bars.
Yeah, okay.
So with Meyerburger, they've eliminated those bus bars, and they have a gapless technology now to where the gaps in those cells have been reduced. All the lead has been removed. So these are a lead-free panel, first of its kind. So these don't go into a landfill at the end of their life. They actually get recycled. And where most panels will give you about 75% of your power in year 25, these will give you over 92% of your power all the way out in year 25.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, at least it's going to produce for you that long.
Incredible technology.
Getting to that note, I think that's where a lot of people start to really look at solar is the kilowatts now, just from the cost of NV Energy. You know, I'm sure they're going to say the same thing. It's going to probably continue to go up. I mean, it's not going to get any cheaper, you know. So I think the best thing about the system, even if you, I think each, well, we can talk about the differences between purchase and lease and all that stuff, but
sure.
At least with any of those agreements, you're locking into where you're going to be paying a particular amount, right, per kilowatt if you did a lease.
Sure.
Versus, well, and if you purchase, you've just got it outright, but.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I mean, just in terms of ROI, return on investment, you
Yeah.
know, if you're in a position to pay cash for a system,
Right.
I mean, you're always going to get the fastest ROI that way. But there are some great financing options available. We have interest rates as low as 3.99, which in this day and age is a pretty low interest rate
Right.
to be able to finance a system. And the nice thing is you can, you know, pay the system off early. There are no prepayment penalties. So the loans are very flexible. They don't take a ton to qualify. If you can qualify for a home, you can most certainly qualify to get a solar system. You know, you're getting away from renting your home, and here you can get away from renting your power and own your power right alongside of owning your home.
Sure.
And you know, it's just a great way of insulating yourself against inflation, right? Because the big driver recently, obviously, we can't have a conversation without inflation coming up and just the cost of goods and services as they've risen.
Man.
So, you know, if we look to the future in terms of what, you know, utilities can cost, I mean, the experts we've heard are saying that the cost of power could double in the next 10 years.
Isn't that crazy? I just had a $600 bill, you know, so I couldn't imagine that doubling, but it's
not surprising,
pipeline, right?
Yeah, I'm seeing summertime bills from some customers now over $1,000 for a power bill. I mean, it used to be back in the 80s, that was a mortgage payment. Right,
Yeah,
and now that's just the utility bill. So if you can freeze that and drop that, you know, by 35, 40, 50% in a payment, and then freeze that over time, you know, it's akin. We make jokes, but it's akin to getting a gas card. You know, back when gas was $1 a gallon, and saying, "Hey, here's a gas card. I'm going to lock in your gas price at 99 cents a gallon for the next 25 years." You know, how much money would you have saved on gas, right?
Right.
I mean, thousands and thousands.
I'm with you. I think for me, just to give everybody an idea, my cost at my house was about $3,600 a year at NV Energy. You know, once you averaged out the 12 months.
Sure.
And so we could have either purchased it outright, or we could do what we did, which is the monthly payments on it and then pay it off at any given point.
Exactly.
But even that, and I chose the option to do, I think it was 218. So, I mean, my average is $300 a month. So no matter what, I'm still paying something off, and it's cheaper. And at some point, if I want to just get rid of it, the only thing that I'll be responsible for past that point is the service agreement with NV Energy, which is like $18.
Yeah, just the basic service charge.
You know, I mean, it definitely serves it.
Yeah, and in the middle of summer, when your neighbor's got an $800 power bill,
right,
and you've got $18.50,
right,
you know, that's you're not going to get mad, you know, at your $18.50 power bill.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, you know, I don't know what else we could get into, brother, but I know that was a lot of information just to give them for now. But if you guys have any questions regarding solar, Bob's been great answering my calls or texts at any time, and his whole crew down there is very knowledgeable. And I say you got to go visit him. But tell him that Tim Lowe with Signature Real Estate Group told you to go visit him. So glad you got to meet him again, and thanks again for coming through, brother.
Hey, appreciate it, Tim.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure.